You know that robotic voice, right? The one from your GPS or that digital assistant on your phone? I mean, they work, but they're missing that certain something. Well, today we're diving into how AI is finally closing that gap and moving way beyond just talking to creating voices that have a real, genuine human touch.
And that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can a machine truly sound human? We're not just talking about getting the words right. We're talking about all the little things, the pauses, the shifts in tone, everything that makes a voice feel, well, real. That's the challenge, and the answers are getting seriously fascinating.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the goal itself. What actually makes an AI voice sound human? Then, we'll walk through the whole process, from grabbing the right tool to making the audio, and then polishing it up for that super realistic final sound.
All right, first up, before we even get into the how-to, let's really get a handle on the what. What is the end goal here when we say we want an AI voice to sound natural?
Okay, so at its core, an AI voice generator is pretty straightforward. It takes text and turns it into speech. But the tech we're digging into today is on a whole other level. See, the real trick isn't just making the words understandable, it's making the voice behind those words actually believable.
And this right here, this is the secret sauce. The aim isn't some kind of robotic perfection, it's about authenticity. The source material has a great name for it, a human touch voice. It's not about getting rid of every tiny flaw. It's about capturing those natural little imperfections that make a real voice so compelling to listen to.
So, how are people actually pulling this off? Well, our source points us to a specific platform that's really leading the charge here. 11 Labs. They become a huge name in the space for one big reason. They are obsessed with creating these incredibly realistic and emotionally rich voices.
And we can get even more specific. The source makes a point of highlighting their V3 model. You can basically think of this as their latest and greatest, the cutting-edge attempt to finally crack the code on what makes a voice sound indistinguishably human.
Okay, let's switch gears to the practical side of things. If you wanted to try this out yourself, what's the very first thing you need to do?
So the process kicks off with something that sounds pretty simple. Just download the files. But it's a bit more than just installing an app. This step is about getting all the specific models and software libraries set up, which are going to be the foundation for the AI voice you create.
Once you have all the tools in place, it is time for the fun part. This is where your written text starts its journey to becoming an actual voice.
So you fire up the editor, you paste in your text, and then you hit generate. What happens next is the AI model reads all the words, the context, the punctuation, and it creates a first draft of the audio. Think of it like the raw recording, the basic performance that we're about to take to the next level.
Now this is where things get really cool. That first draft, it's almost never the final version. Now we get to the polishing stage, where a little bit of tech magic turns a pretty good voice into an incredible one. Because that first audio clip, as our source points out, can sometimes be a bit low quality. You might hear a tiny digital artifact or a pause that feels just a little off. The words are there and they're correct, but it doesn't quite feel alive yet.
And this is the transformation we're talking about. It's all about taking an output that might have some of those robotic leftovers and turning it into a voice that sounds way more natural and realistic. Honestly, this one step is often the difference between a decent AI voice and one that genuinely wows you.
So how do you bridge that gap? The source gives us the secret weapon, a feature they call the enhancer. Now, the exact tech is probably a closely guarded secret, but it likely uses another AI to listen to the audio, clean up any noise, and smartly tweak the rhythm and tone to sound more human. It's that final, crucial layer of polish.
Okay, so we've seen the whole process, from a simple line of text to this polished, human-sounding voice. But let's zoom out for a second from the how and ask the really big question: why does this all matter?
Well, the applications are just massive. For anyone creating content, this means high-quality narration is suddenly within reach. For accessibility, this could mean screen readers that aren't just functional but are actually a pleasure to listen to. That human touch makes all the difference in making information engaging, whatever it might be.
And all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to end on. The technology is here. That line between a human voice and a machine voice is getting blurrier by the day. So the question isn't really if they can talk like us anymore. It's, now that they can, what stories are they going to tell?